Welcome to the Serendipitous Rebel podcast. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Krystal. We're business coaches and retreat hosts for bold, purpose-driven women who are ready to build businesses that actually fit their lives.
This podcast is for the authentic, rebellious entrepreneur who's done playing by everyone else's rules. We know what works because we've lived it, coached it, and savored the journey.
Join us for real talk on business, life, and everything in between.
Good morning. And oh my gosh, it has been a long time since we have been on a podcast. And who is we? I am Wendy Truth. And I'm here with Krystal Eicher. And we are the Serendipitous Rebels. Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
It has been. And you know what? I don't think we're the only ones. I think everybody went into this year with a ball of energy, and then the season of crazy took over. And I think the funny thing about it is, I think we kept saying, you know what, if we just get through the end of this, I mean, for me, the end of school, because you don't have to contend with that anymore. You have kids in college, but truly same thing too. You were dealing with the end of school season.
Then we'll come home.
And then we were like, all right, we'll just get through summer. And then there's this realization that there will always be the next thing. And so we just need to do the doing.
And now it is August. Holy cannoli.
Mm-hmm.
And I really actually think this is the perfect conversational lead-in to today, because it's, where is time gone? How come I don't have a minute to sit down and actually listen to podcasts? I do listen to podcasts, multitasking, but to sit down and actually record a podcast, or much less do anything else. So I'm excited to have this conversation today about white space. You know, what is it that we need to do for less hustle, more harmony? And we talk about being in this messy middle, which I think white space is probably one of the few things that really helps us to just be able to live in this particular messy middle time.
Yeah. And white space feels counterintuitive also, because I think that when you are an entrepreneur, it's easy to lean into that hustle culture. I need to do more and do more. And the answer to not getting where I want to be is more. But without it, and I know we're going to get into this in this episode today, you stifle creativity. You don't have the time to actually execute the things. You're so reactive all the time. So let's define what we're talking about with white space. We like definitions on this podcast.
I think that's perfect. Yeah. And you know, what I really love is it is so radical because it's so simple. Yeah. What the heck is white space? Unstructured time. It's breathing room. It's what they call, instead of doing back to back, you have that margin in between where you can sit there, sip a cup of coffee, as I saw Krystal just do. And it's taking that pause, buffer, whatever you want to call it, that comes in between, whether it's meetings, whether it's picking the kids up, whether it's running around, whatever it is, it's the buffer between the tasks.
Yeah. And I think that it gives you just that, not just physical space, because, and I think as moms, that's really important, because I don't know about you, and we're in different seasons of momming, but I still think you feel this a little bit sometimes. My kids are always touching me. And
Not in that phase anymore.
You're not in that phase anymore. My kids are always touching me or needing something, right? So it's hard, one, to just take that space away, just to say, okay, I need just a break and a breather. But then also the mental space away from my phone not constantly dinging and interrupting and giving me 6,000 notifications, and the emails that fly in, or the Voxers from clients, or even Voxers from each other, which are super exciting and amazing, but tend to make us reactive.
Yes. Oh, very much. Yes. It's really interesting because a lot of people think this is super fluffy. Interestingly enough, there's actually a phrase for this in positive psychology, and that is attention restoration. I think that's really, and really is about when your brain is constantly shifting between tasks, between things, especially when in the messy middle, there's also some hormonal stuff, which as we're not, we're probably not getting into, but you're depleting your cognitive energy. And we wear so many freaking hats. It's interesting. We haven't talked about hats in a while, but we wear so many hats. And one of them for you is mom being the touchy mom.
It is.
It's funny though. I remember probably 10 years or so ago when I was a single mom, which was that additional like pressure layer that I actually had an aversion to touch.
Mm-hmm.
Just thought about, oh, flashback, thought about that. Yeah, it's crazy time, isn't it?
No, it is. You really get into this season. So now try it. And you also know this because you were also running a side hustle at the time and running a business. And that was the season of life that I am in right now, where you're trying to jump from thing to thing. And we talked the other day on Voxer about all of the transitions that we have in our day, that we go from being business owners, so talking to clients and doing client work, and then transitioning to the mom mode where we're having to chauffeur from thing to thing, and then transitioning back into business partner mode where you and I are trying to talk about strategy and higher level things. The problem is, again, we are packing so many different things, and we talk about all the time. Women are holding up entire ecosystems on their shoulders. They are holding up not just the business owner side of it, which when you're the business owner, you are the marketer, the CEO, the financial budgeter of things, all in addition to the executor of client tasks, whether you're a service provider or a coach. And then also we're moms. There's
Yes.
laundry. The dishwasher needs to get unloaded. When we work from home, we're looking out into our world and you're seeing all of these different things, all of the different demands of family members that come through and the pressure that comes along with that, the meal planning piece of it, the needing to go to the grocery store, juggling all of the kids' schedules, which just gets worse over time. The kids' schedule things.
It'll continue to get worse.
Oh my gosh, the sports thing.
That I think is interesting about all of this is that if we doing the tasks themselves, whether it's driving, whether it's grocery shopping, whether it's sitting down and looking at our budget, whatever it is, that's not the part that's the draining part. It's actually the constant transitioning between the different roles that is what I think really wears us down. Unless we have it, and it's wonderful if they're natural breaks, but sometimes they really need to be scheduled breaks in your day that helps with these transitions. You lose your focus. You are absolutely falling into decision fatigue and exhaustion. And ultimately, as we talk about burnout, it's crazy. And it's funny though, because I saw this quote, and I wish I remembered where, that it isn't the chaos that breaks you. It's the lack of recovery between the chaos.
Yeah.
And I even think about this morning. I was a little lazy this morning. And so what did I do? I doom scrolled. So I went from the chaos that is the everyday world of outside my ecosystem. And then you sent me a text that said, hey, whenever you're, and I'm not saying this has anything to do with you, but then immediately jumped up and was like, oh my gosh, I have to get moving. And the transition that I would have normally, no, because I never have a transition. What am I saying? So there's nothing normal. But the transition that I needed, I didn't get. So maybe I'm suffering from, what is it? A little bit of fatigue. No, just kidding. But it's interesting to think about all the different pieces of chaos. Anyway.
And I think there's key pieces there. One, chaos is inevitable. The hamster wheel does not stop moving. And I think that a lot of us as women were like, we opened it up this episode with, if I just get through the end of school, if I just get through the summer, if I just get, it will just wait until this. And clarity does not show up on the calendar. You really have to build it into the calendar. So for those of us that are really struggling from this lack of recovery piece of it, how do we advise clients? What is it that we tell clients to do?
I think that the interesting piece of this is that it's really also starting with, when we go back to the definition of white space, what do each individually do we consider white space? I think that one of the things that I started to lean into before it became a major goal setting piece was I rode. If I think about it beforehand and probably after, it becomes more of a goal, of a milestone, goals, things like, but when I'm actually doing it, I'm incredibly relaxed. It's my form of meditation. And I bet if I ask you, Pilates is your, and we talk a lot about the importance of actual physical movement in your day. Walk down your driveway. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll get the mail. I'll bring in the trash can. Why? Because I just need that space.
You need the movement. And it's a key part of Savor, right? And we talk about all the time. And we'll link, guys, in the show notes, our episode about Savor if you're not 100% familiar with that. But just the quick overview is it's an acronym. And one of the pillars of Savor is venture under your own power, which is to actually incorporate physical movement into your day. And it's also do the doing. But I think when we talk about the key parts of white space, I love that because incorporating physical movement into our day is a key part of that mental rest. It's not always physical rest in those moments, but it is very much a mental restoration point where we almost always have bursts of creative energy after those moments. The Voxers are usually on fire after a row session with Wendy or after Pilates with me. When I got out last night, I left Wendy a long-winded message of because I think at that point you have the ability to step away from the office and step away from our silos and step away from all of the demands that are hitting us at any given moment and actually process. And we are very much processors and think through things in a much more creative, enlightened way versus just constantly sitting in the grind, working it.
Yeah. And I think it's really important for everyone to find something, some form of movement that works for them. It doesn't have to be super elaborate. It doesn't have to require maximum equipment or expense. Something that works for their life, their body, themselves, that just energizes, that gets the blood flowing, the energy going afterwards. And it's also nice when it also activates during. But yeah, and that's walking is one of the, I guess, the one that everyone looks towards. It's like, you think about it, why do they say we need to take, 10,000 steps a day? That's a really arbitrary kind of random thing. Why? Because it puts in your mind the fact that you need to get out and move your body. Sometimes I like going grocery shopping alone or Target alone.
That's my favorite thing.
Because I walk around the entire store.
Yeah.
Because it's alone time.
Yep.
And it does, yeah. So finding something, whatever that is. And it's interesting, there's a new thing out that says do 10 squats like every 45 minutes, which is an interesting pairing with, say, a Pomodoro method or something like that, is setting specific chunks of time. If you can stand up and just do 10 squats every hour, And what happens is the blood flows to every extremity in your body. And then you're likely to grab some water afterwards and you're ready to go on to the next thing. So it's building in those moments. And actually, it's just opening up your calendar and blocking time.
Well, that's really what I was thinking. And I know that I started that at the beginning of this year because I think one of my goals for 2025 was to build in more white space into my calendar. And I really did start time blocking things of my creative energy time or my writing time
Mhm.
and really try to block it out so that those were times that I was solely working on creative tasks or reading a book or taking a minute to do nothing, which is
Mhm.
really hard, I think, as women, because I think we feel like we must always fill up the space with 1,000 things that we have to do. Again, holding up that ecosystem, but truly rest. And again, that's another key part of Savor is unwinding with self-care. But that rest and restoration is so vitally important to us as
Yep.
human beings. Really looking at how we can do less in our world, in our
That-
businesses. How can we simplify things so that there are fewer transitions throughout the day so that we are strategically outsourcing the things that are not good uses of our time? Or how are we putting in systems in place to take those things off of our plate? And I think that when you don't take the time for that white space and for that creative thinking, you're missing the opportunities to one, think through and plan what those things could be to be helpful, but then also executing them later on. And I think that then alternatively, people think, well, I'm just going to take the weekend off, or I'm just going to take time off. And I don't think that's it.
And that is an excellent point because there isn't the specificity in that just saying, or a lot of people just say, I'm not, yeah, I'm off. It's the weekend. So, what are you blocking in terms of your time and energy for yourself? What do you also, the saying no, that
Mhm.
thing that is such a really hard thing to do. And I know there's like millions of books on it now, but the ability to say no, which is setting boundaries for yourself, is so important. And some people like white space. I think you and I are very similar that it's what does it take to quiet the mind? So sitting down for an hour and reading a book isn't really white space necessary.
Mhm.
I think it can be for some people, that's exactly what they need to just bring it's like their mind and body temperature down. That would not necessarily work for me. Um,
Correct.
yeah, no, that usually gets me just as riled up as everything else. But doing something that's meditative, that's repetitive and simple. I think about it, I should probably garden.
It's funny you say that because I garden and then I went on vacation and everything died.
Oh.
But my daughter was really upset. And I said, it's fine. We can just replant this stuff later on. We live in South Texas. We have another like whole season that we can work with this. But there is something, like you said, I love one, it's very grounding. You go
Mhm.
out, you walk even barefoot in your grass,
Yep,
you're
exactly.
watering your flowers.
And maybe some repetitive digging.
No, there's something really nice about that, except that I don't have a green thumb. I have very much black thumb, but it's okay. I still keep trying.
It's whatever it is to create the transitions, but the transitions need to be like soft and slow, not jarring. And I think that's also something. It's like thinking about the transition was your text to me. And then I went, and I jumped this
Mhm.
morning. And I'm thinking about that. Yeah, this is such an important piece because one of the things that I really love about using Savor in Serendipitous Rebel is the fact that we're human beings and we are holistic human beings. We are not just moms, just wives, just CEOs. Even if you have the ability to compartmentalize things, there's a holistic overall that we're human beings with many needs.
Mhm.
Critical need, I think, as we progress. is the need for white space and the need
Yeah.
to just slow down and just take time for ourselves.
And yeah, I agree. I think overscheduling ourselves is one of the biggest problems I see other women in our world make. We constantly feel overscheduled. And to the point of the transition piece, there are so many transitions in our day. Like we said before, that just becomes very problematic. And then what do we feel? We feel burnout, we feel stress, we feel
Mhm.
exhausted. We are not really taking care of what it is that we are taking care of.
Mhm.
And so I think that really taking the time out to, yeah, cultivate that space is really important. So schedule the time, you guys, like block out time in your calendar or look on your calendar and see what you can delete. What meeting could be an email? Oh my gosh, what meeting could be an email? Even when they're fun meetings, I don't know. We used to do a lot more co-working things with other people. And I get occasional invites to a few, and sometimes I go because I love co-working meetings and I think they're really fabulous. But I also am starting to recognize that not every invitation requires the yes, to your point. Not everything needs me to show up. I don't need to be at every PTO function or every volunteer activity that I
No,
get invited to. That's the problem, guys. When you volunteer for one thing, they have pegged you and they want you for everything. You can say no. You don't need to be at everything.
that is absolutely so spot on. And I think there's a thing about taking the time, whether it's on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, but looking at your life, we use a wheel of life, but looking
Mhm.
at your life and setting up some priorities. Because I know that my April looks so different than my June. And, yours too, because kids have school. And
Yeah.
having the ability to just take a little time to also do some planning and mapping out allows you, I think, actually to say no more.
So that's actually one of the things. So we do one-on-one strategic planning sessions with clients, and we'll link that in the show notes, guys. But that is one of my favorite things. And I think one very unique thing that you and I do when we do strategic business planning, strategic marketing planning for people, because everybody wants the strategic marketing plan, right? When do I launch? How do I backward plan this? One of
Right.
the first things we ask clients in those sessions is what's going on with the family when you're taking summer vacation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I want to launch just as I'm on vacation.
And I think we forget because again, we compartmentalize so much. We forget that, oh yeah, I was planning, or my favorite is I'm going to launch January 1st. That's like my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my favorite like feedback from clients. I'm like, cool, you working over Christmas? Wait, I don't want to work over. Yeah, I know. So launch January 21st or whatever. It's just little shifts like that. Again, you say no, because I think, again, when we're not strategically planning those things out, when we're not mapping those things out, when we're not factoring in the other areas of our life, that's when our white space goes away. We sacrifice the white space because we are, again, overextending, overcomplicating,
Yep.
and then those things go away. And I think this is like the perfect plug, obviously, for the Saver Mastermind retreat,
Exactly.
because this is partly why we run the Saver Mastermind retreat. So if you've not heard about our retreat, it is 5 days out at sea. We're going on Virgin Voyages this fall. We'll put a link in the show notes for more information where you can find more information about that. But so much of our mastermind retreat is built on white space.
Yeah.
It's built on open time, non-structured time, where you can creatively in flow gravitate to what it is that you need to do in that moment, whether it is nap in your hammock on your balcony or dive into these one-on-one conversations with other participants or opening up your laptop and writing and executing some things. You're doing what's feeling good in the moment to you.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about building in white space, is that you all of a sudden do get that creative burst of energy, and now you can and want to go do the thing.
I think about our last, because this is not our first rodeo. We've done this before. And the cool thing is also that we actually are leaders, participants, all that
Mhm.
rolled into one. And I think about the last one where I got so much work done on the
Mhm.
home. I had so
I
much
know.
energy. Why? Because they have these phenomenal day beds, and we all just lounge and hang out and snooze a little and whatever. And
And eat the shrimps.
and I think about those moments, and then I immediately jumped to and I had plans. I had just so much. And the interesting thing about it is, thinking about it now, I actually accomplished what I set out to do, which is wonderful. And I think it's the combination of creating this white space, creating this synergistic energy, and then having the burst when you get home. I was away for much of June, and it was
Mhm.
to a large extent. And I am still recovering. Yeah.
Yeah, vacationing as a mom is not a vacation.
And I think that there's a time and a place for everything. And there's a time,
Yeah.
and I do think that there's times when I just need to learn a business skill. I don't want it to drag on for 8 months to get me to the point. I just want to learn something. And there's really great ways of doing that. But when it comes to this messy middle time in my life, I need the getaway.
Mhm.
I need the opportunities for the white space. So anyway, we digress, but it's something that we've been talking about for a while, that we need this, and it's really becoming more than it's an urgency that to
Yeah.
be able, because when was it? Even just the other day, I was the crankiest, not nice person. And if I thought about it, why? It's because it was run, oh, I have something else I have to do. Even though I want to do it, it becomes another thing that just, there's a bitterness.
Yeah. You get resentful.
Yeah, yeah. Building in that white space and allowing ourselves to just have those moments. And I really do think the key thing is finding what works for you. Because
Mhm.
also, like, some people meditate. I could not imagine sitting down and going, it would drive me, my body.
I know. I used to think I was broken. And then I actually remember on our last retreat, one of the participants, Irina, had
Mhm.
said to me, yeah, that's never going to work from you. Why? I said, yeah, your Aries energy is never going to fire signs do not sit still. Like, you
Yeah,
need to meditate in flow, in movement. I'm like, oh,
yes.
100% correct.
It's taking time to really sit down and think about.
What works best. And then also give yourself the permission to do it. It's hard. It's so hard. But that when you can make that shift, you start reacting to life, you start responding, you start to be able to be even more proactive. So you have less to respond to. That unplugging helps you realign so you can make the decisions quicker, faster
Mhm.
in your business, because you have more confidence, because you're more grounded, all of the good things. And yeah, I think on that
Yeah.
note,
And you know what? Let's go over the questions just really quickly.
yeah,
There's a simple way, simple framework to figuring out white space. And we can drop in a PDF in the show notes.
yeah,
So really think about what drains you most during the day. Fatigue, emotional energy from supporting others, physical overstimulation, whatever it is. But what drains you most? And then what activities leave you feeling more clear, calm, or creative? When in the day do you crash or do you overcompensate? I mean, like, I am like the 3 o'clock in the afternoon person. I'm dead. Don't even come near me.
it
So,
is really funny. Actually, we both hit a wall at the exact same time.
like, even with the hour time difference.
Because mine is
So,
2, it's earlier in the day. I don't make it as long as Wendy does.
oh, then it really is perfect. But, and this is actually where the nervous system comes in. When are you crashing? But anyway, and then there's different styles of white space that come from that. We'll drop that into the chat if that would be helpful. And yeah, this has been Krystal's idea to have this conversation. So I'm really glad it makes me feel better.
I know. Yeah. So all that to say, guys, we're back. We're super excited. We would love for you to DM us your insights on Instagram. You can find us at Serendipitous Rebel. We would love to know how you build white space into your life, your calendar, your time, what works for you. And until next time and next week, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
But only if you liked it. Otherwise, just keep it to yourself.
You can learn more about our upcoming masterminding opportunities on our website at serendipitousrebel.com.
And if you have topics you'd like to hear about, be sure to submit them on our website or DM us on social media.
Hey, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.